Welcome to the Now South Florida. We're staying on top of some breaking news out of Port St. Lucie, where someone dropped off a suspected grenade at the Goodwill drop-off center. That's along Southwest St. Lucie West Boulevard. Now take a look at these photos. The police department just tweeted out all of the workers were evacuated as a bomb squad checked out that device. We just learned the all clear has been given and everyone will be going back into the store very shortly.
Tracking some thunderstorms across the area. Had a significant weather advisory for this one here on the Treasure Coast, but it just expired moments ago. We'll take a look at it anyways here. 42, 43 mile per hour wind gusts around Indrio there in Indian River County. You see starting to taper off a little bit, pulling back a little bit west of 95 now, but this will be ongoing. Very weak flow here, so it'll sit here for a little bit. Stewart's dry right now, and down in Hobe Sound's also dry. Jupiter also. West Palm Beach had some storms earlier, and down in the South County looking at some light rain at the moment. Live Viper 5 Max there showing some storms west of the lake too, and just this little sprinkles here in southern Palm Beach County, but the main action there up on the Treasure Coast, just pulled away from the Treasure Coast, that is. Jupiter Inlet Lighthouse there looking beautiful with still some sun out there and still a lot of clouds around too, but keeping a chance for some shower storms in the forecast here through the first part of the evening and then drying out, but rain could come back overnight after midnight along the coast, and we'll talk about the weekend coming up in a bit.
Well, at 7 o'clock this morning, the lock opened up and a 3-day buildup of algae spilled into an area that will take this green mess to the St. Lucie River. The U.S. Army Corps said this is necessary to help keep the lake level down and prevent the dike from breaking. But some are pushing for a dramatic drop in the water level well before we get into rainy season. The Now's Alex Hagan explains.
Well, many here on the Treasure Coast are wondering why can't Lake Okeechobee be at 12.5 feet or lower at the start of the wet season? And today, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says they're looking into that. As the discharges resume, not too far away, at a closed Florida Sportsman.
No idea that we'd be dealing with issues like this.
Publisher Blair Wickstrom looks out at a marina covered in algae.
The entire industry that we represent and are part of is being affected.
Wondering how we can fix this.
If this doesn't make you act, you're not going to act.
Blair is part of a push to get water managers to keep Lake Okeechobee at 11 to 12 feet during the dry season up until the wet season.
We would have had the lake at a lower level when the wet season began. We wouldn't have the discharges now.
They get dumped on.
Kenny Hinkle Jr. says even 12.5 is good enough.
We can go in at 12.5. We're not going to have a catastrophe like we've had year after year after year.
The push even has the attention of Congressman Brian Mast, who is up for re-election. The Corps tries to keep the lake between 12.5 and 15.5 feet at all times. A spokesperson told me the agency is aware of this proposal and currently researching it as a possibility. The only concern would be water supply for people south of Lake Okeechobee. Meanwhile, back in Martin County, where there's algae.
Get a little lower, and we're only talking 2.5 feet.
Now, I also reached out to people around Lake Okeechobee for their response to this proposal. That part of the story all new at 5. In Martin County, I'm Alex Hagan for the Now South Florida.
Afternoon here. Let's check out our lineup, and we're closely watching these wildfires in California. They have turned deadly. Thousands of people running from their homes. Very scary stuff. We've even seen a fire tornado there. We're going to get you caught up on the latest. Also, our investigative team taking a look at a device that could replace your passwords. Could this be the thing that keeps us safe from hackers stealing our personal information? We'll look into that. And we're also checking out Coca-Cola's new plan for water fountains. It costs money to use. They're testing them out. You're going to want to see exactly what they're doing. And of course, it's Friday night. Maybe it's a date night for you. Well, we have new information on what people are doing before going on a date. Maybe you're surprised. Maybe you're with them. We're going to talk about that and much more throughout the hour here on The Now.
Still no word on what's to blame for this early morning fire in West Palm Beach. Luckily, firefighters were able to contain the fire quickly to just one building before it could spread. No one was hurt. It's not clear what caused at least 7 passengers to get sick on a flight headed to Fort Lauderdale. The pilot had to make an emergency landing in Myrtle Beach last night. The flight left from New York. The Spirit Airlines plane landed in Florida earlier this morning. Officials say they did not find a hazardous substance on board. Happening right now in a Texas courtroom, a push to stop a Texas-based company from publishing blueprints online for 3D printed guns. Gun safety groups filed an appeal asking a judge to stop Wednesday's publication. A gun rights activist reached an agreement with the government earlier this month that allows the plans to be made public, a move gun safety groups are calling dangerous and potentially illegal. The National Rifle Association spokeswoman says 3D printed guns represent, quote, freedom and innovation. The Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections wants to use district schools as voting sites. Susan Bucher has asked the school district to consider making August 28th, the day of primary elections, a teacher's work day. The teacher's work day, if it is approved by the district at their August 1st meeting, would allow students to stay home. The district has already set aside November 6th, Election Day, as a teacher's work day. And remember, if you want to vote in Florida's primary elections, you have until Monday to register or switch your party affiliation.
Let's not waste any time getting to the Now News feed. A look at some of the big stories that are getting attention right now. And the family of a Tulsa girl says she was shot by police as she drove away from officers. Police are saying otherwise. They say they saw Logan Simpson drive straight at them. Southwest Airlines says other airlines are finding cracks in fan blades. Now that's the problem that led to a woman being partially sucked from a plane earlier this year. Southwest is calling for more inspections on this issue. And the Pentagon working on making a do not buy list of software vendors. That's to stop people from buying software with code coming from Russia and China. There are concerns that those countries could use that software to spy. President Trump once again denying that he knew anything about a meeting with Russia inside of Trump Tower. Now, the president's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, now claiming that then candidate Trump knew. That was in advance. Yeah, Russians were offering information about Hillary Clinton. Michael Cohen saying the president was informed about the offer by his son, Donald Trump Jr. Now, the president insists that he didn't know anything about this meeting between his campaign and the Russians. That was until the New York Times brought it up last year. However, it is important to note that just days after that alleged meeting, then candidate Trump promised to reveal information about Hillary Clinton. Now, this is what he had to say more than 2 years ago.
I am going to give a major speech on probably Monday of next week, and we're going to be discussing all of the things that have taken place with the Clintons. I think you're going to find it very informative and very, very interesting.
So that speech never happened. Now his current attorney, Rudy Giuliani, calling Michael Cohen a liar. Well, Russian hackers appear to be at it again. Senator Claire McCaskill saying they tried to get into her Senate computer network. This is the first known Russian hacking of the midterms. President Trump meeting today with his National Security Council about the safety of the midterm elections. All right, let's head back to our lineup here. And after the break, we have an update on those wildfires burning in Northern California. They have turned deadly, forcing thousands of people to run from their homes. We're going to get you caught up on that when the Now continues.
Wildfires continue to burn out of control out west. The Florida Forest Service has sent 20 firefighters to help their brothers get an upper hand on these fires. The more than 36,000-acre wildfire began on July 13th. This year, the Florida Forest Service has deployed 127 wildland firefighters across the country. Chris has more on the battle out west.
Well, another death today in that wildfire in Northern California. Just look at these images right here. A firefighter killed just a day after a bulldozer operator died while trying to contain these flames. Well, here's Now's Corey Rangel tracking the latest with these wildfires.
This wildfire is being called hell on earth as it quickly spreads across Northern California, sparking fire tornadoes and threatening thousands of homes as it burns out of control. The so-called car fire is such a challenge, it has killed 2 firefighters. Hundreds of National Guard members have now joined air and ground efforts to try and stop it.
This is that new normal, that unpredictability, the large explosive growth fires.
The fire is so fast and dangerous, a local news station had to evacuate while covering it live on the air.
And right now we're being evacuated. That's why we are kind of closing out right now. Yes. We are going to leave the station because it is now unsafe to be here.
The wildfire is showing no mercy and led a hospital to evacuate at least 5 babies in a neonatal care unit as a precaution. And there are concerns the entire hospital might need to be evacuated.
It's definitely devastating. It's never seen anything like it.
This is only one of several major wildfires sweeping through California right now. Forecasters say warm temperatures and dry conditions will continue and create a higher fire risk for the entire area. For The Now, I'm Corey Rangel.
Wow, Corey, thank you. And today, North Korea handing over the remains of soldiers who were killed during the Korean War. Now, they arrived this morning at an air base in South Korea. You can see the moments right here. 55 cases were brought off the U.S. plane one by one. Now, it's still unclear exactly just how many remains were returned. Today, President Trump thanking Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, for fulfilling his promise to return them.
These incredible American heroes will soon lay at rest on sacred American soil.
You saw Vice President Mike Pence there during a statement at the White House. Vice President Pence will receive the remains August 1st.
Tracking some thunderstorms across the area, one right over Okeechobee. This is Okeechobee Central Elementary School weather STEM site. You see water on the lens there and rain there in the background. There's that storm right there, right over it. And you see it stretching over towards the Treasure Coast too. And we had a big strong storm earlier. Now that's starting to die on out, but still a lot of lightning strikes here in northwestern parts of St. Lucie County, maybe drifting back up into Indian River County. Big strong one up into Brevard County though. But we should see this activity still starting to spread over into Fort Pierce with some light rain, even some lightning strikes there. We do have some light to moderate rain entering Boca, West Boca and Delray, and even up into Boynton Beach. Rain will pick up a little bit before all is said and done. So Friday night plans that take you south, you're going to run into some showers, probably some slowdowns there too. And also if you're heading north, you run into some heavier rains there. Current temperatures where it's raining into the 70s, but 80s, we're not seeing as much rain. Keeping the rain chance in the forecast through dinner time or so, and then we'll taper it off a little bit in the evening, but then bring it back up after midnight along the coast as we could see some coastal rain develop. Over the weekend, rain chances stay very high here for Saturday and Sunday. No, not a washout, but there will be a lot of rain around. But in between, we will see some sunshine. We'll taper off rain chances a little bit going into next week.
Here's a consumer alert about fake information you may get in your mailbox about medical marijuana. The Florida Department of Health says people are getting fake letters claiming to come from the agency or the Office of Medical Marijuana Use. But they say those letters are scams. They include misinformation about medical marijuana laws in Florida. They want to remind you only state-approved centers and doctors can legally dispense medical marijuana. Here's an update on SunPass. FDOT says more than 137 million transactions have been posted as of this morning. SunPass is working to clear the backlog of toll transactions. At this point, you won't be charged for any late fees or penalties. The system's had some problems since it went offline for maintenance back in June, causing delays in toll billing. A last-minute plea has pushed back the release of hours of surveillance video taken during the Stoneman Douglas school shooting. The footage was set to be published today, but the Broward County School Board has asked for the Florida Supreme Court to pick up the case, delaying the distribution by at least 10 days. The school board says the video could compromise school security. Updating you now on that deadly plane crash in the Everglades. Investigators say the two planes that crashed last week collided nearly straight on, killing 4 people. The NTSB saying the crash involving 2 Dean International Flight School planes were about 1,500 feet in the air when all of this happened. And that one plane had been returning to the airport. The other was heading out to a nearby training area. The flight school's owner announced earlier this week that he's closing the business. A big win for the LGBTQ community. A transgender teenager won a federal discrimination case against the St. Johns County School Board. Drew Adams says the school board prevented him from using the boys' bathroom after it received a tip. But a judge ruled that Adams be treated like any other boy and by law is allowed to use the boys' bathroom. All right, switching gears, you have to see this picture. Cats seem to get themselves in all sorts of tight spots. Here's an example of such out of Polk County. Deputies say animal control was called out to rescue this kitty yesterday after he got stuck under a Lakeland home. they couldn't free him, so firefighters were called to the scene. They cut the cat out from that concrete block now, and he is at animal control.
Let's get to some of the other stories we're following in the Now news feed as debate in Texas over a law on the books designed to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers. Now, the school shooting at Santa Fe High School earlier this year, it's pushed people to call for that law to expand to other cases where people make threats. Texas's lieutenant governor says he's against it, and it says it just does not have support. Today, an Indiana family will say goodbye to some of their members who died in the Missouri duck boat incident. 9 members of that one family dying when that duck boat capsized in severe weather. Today, a father and 3 children laid to rest. Well, 2 Georgia police officers fired this week. They were caught on video using a coin flipping app to determine if a speeder would go to jail. The police department says the officers did not perform at an acceptable level. Well, if you're already looking ahead to take a trip this fall, there are some more changes you can expect when it comes to airlines. American Airlines, it is trying to play nice. It's bringing back free carry-on bags for even the most basic seats. It just made that announcement today. Earlier this year, American took away free carry-ons for anyone with basic economy tickets, the airline reversing the changes in September. Now, playing nice certainly doesn't come free. We know that with airlines, so expect pricier tickets, not just with American, but with Delta and United as well. Fuel costs are up. 3 airlines have said they'll have to offset the costs, at least partially, with higher fares, so no real surprise there. Now, the one airline that really isn't experiencing any changes right now is Southwest. Southwest fares are actually down right now despite the rising fuel costs. Its CEO has promised that it won't charge for checked bags or ticket changes. It's also keeping its open seating policy as well. All right, next on our lineup, we're going to take a closer look at a popular diet trend. Maybe you've heard of it. You only eat for a few hours a day, fasting for much longer. Well, we're going to take a look at how this diet works and who it's really for. That's when the Now continues. Well, hey, welcome back. And how long can you go between meals before you need a snack or just have another meal? Well, what about 16 hours? Some people are doing that now to lose weight. It's called intermittent fasting. And now it's Andy Taylor checking it out, asking, who's this really for?
Celebrities love a good diet, and we love to try them. They've made intermittent fasting the latest craze.
It's kind of like Christmas morning, right? You know it's coming, you're really excited, you can't wait, but then you know that you have to wait.
One person to fall for the latest trend, Toby Edwards. He gives himself an 8-hour window to eat. Then for the next 16 hours, he fasts. No food, just water.
This is why I think the first few days are really hard.
Like most people, Toby was addicted to sugar, carbs, and all the food that tastes great, but is not so kind to our waistline. That's why he chose this diet. While it sounds miserable to most, knowing that you still have to eat healthy and you can't eat around the clock, Toby says it's changing the way he looks at food.
It's helping me build new habits. It's giving my body a chance to breathe.
Toby might be down 10 pounds, but he says waiting 16 hours to eat is a real challenge.
The first few days are hard, but then there's a noticeable change in your energy.
Although he's enjoying the benefits, registered dietitian Jessica Crandall says if you want to lose weight, this is not the way to go.
You end up so hungry that not only does your mood change, but also your food choices change, and not usually for the better.
Jessica says if you want to reap the long-term benefits, skip the fad diets. Try cutting down your portion size, add exercise to your day, and make better food choices.
If you are losing weight, even the healthy way, your blood sugar and your cholesterol levels will be changing.
As for Toby, dropping weight was never his goal.
I'm not trying to lose weight. I really want this to help me make long-term changes in my life.
For the Now, I'm Annie Taylor.
Really interesting stuff there, Annie. Thank you. And investing in private school tuition, well, it may not be worth it. Researchers at the University of Virginia say they haven't found any evidence showing there's a benefit compared to public schools. Obviously a hot topic in a lot of communities. They say the benefit actually comes down to family income. In tests, private school students did perform better than public school students, but once they took away private school students' family income, their performance was the same. Now, researchers say wealthier families usually get to start education at home before kids even start school, and that's where the real advantage is. All right, we do have a lot more to talk about in our next half hour. How much would you pay to use a water fountain? Yeah, it's usually free, right? But Coca-Cola thinks you're going to pay to use its new water fountain. We're going to show you how it works when the Now continues.
So Universal may be looking into opening a 4th theme park in Orlando. The CEO hinted at a possible name, and the company has filed an application for the name Fantastic World. Universal says opening another theme park could turn the area into a week-long destination. It already has Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and we start the newsfeed in this half hour with President Trump touting a big boost to the U.S. economy in the second half of this year. Unemployment now at an 18-year low. Some experts do think that the economy is going to slow down through the rest of the year. Well, the founder of Papa John's taking his former company to court. John Schnatter's lawyers say the claim that he used a racial slur on a phone call, it's false. Now remember, Schnatter resigned after the report came out this month. Papa John's called his lawsuit, quote, needless and wasteful. 2 popular amusement parks in Pennsylvania reopening today. They had to close after they saw flooding this week. We've talked so much about the millions of people impacted by the East Coast flooding. Well, some rides at Hershey Park and Knoebels will still be off limits this weekend. I want you to take a look at this. Isn't it a beauty? This is a rare lunar eclipse blood moon. This video taken over Osaka, Japan. Now, before you get excited about seeing the moon tonight yourself, you're not going to be able to see it here. Yeah, real bummer, because this was the longest lunar eclipse this century. But no one in North America can really see it. The full eclipse happened for close to 2 hours during the day here in the Western Hemisphere. So it was nighttime in Australia, New Zealand, that part of the world. So they got the full show. We just get their video.
We do have that full moon at least coming up tonight. I'll show you that in a second. First, showers, thunderstorms still scattered around the area, but some folks seeing some sunshine from Stewart down to Jupiter right now. But here's big thunderstorm. It's starting to rain itself out now. Still some lightning strikes though in southwestern Indian River County, northern Okeechobee County, and still some rain going on in Fort Pierce right around the inlet. You see this big thunderstorm over Blue Cypress Lake right now, and then firing up with that outflow boundary pushing westward, and some over Okeechobee too. Farther down into South Boca, some light rain. It picks up a little bit as you head into West Delray near Stonebridge, and then farther north up into Boynton Beach, getting some sprinkles there too. So keep in mind, you're going to run into some showers there for the evening hours here on a Friday evening. Temperatures where it is raining, look at the 70s, and then 80s where we haven't seen much rain this evening. Still a chance for some isolated scattered storms here all the way through the evening hours. Taper it off a little bit mid-evening, and then in the overnight hours could see some coastal rain pop up. And well, as we were saying, it is full moon time. This is the buck moon tonight, and the moon rise, if we can get rid of the clouds, is at 8:13. All right, Boca's forecast for tonight, 77 degrees. Could see a shower right along the coastline in the overnight hours and early morning hours. And then tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Once again, they'll probably start, you have a little bit in the morning, a little bit of a break, and then the sea breeze will start off and push inland a little bit in the afternoon. High temperatures into the upper 80s.
Well, a small squad, but big in personality, hopes to dance, twirl, and spin on one of the biggest stages. We're talking about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. The invite is an opportunity of a lifetime for the Park Vista dancers. As announced, Tori Dunnan learned there's a big problem standing in their way.
Their energy is contagious, so are their smiles. This is Park Vista High School's dance team. The small squad, big in personality, with a big opportunity in front of them, but a big problem in the way.
We haven't raised very much, and we have to make $70,000.
They're on a mission to get to New York City to perform in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
I've dreamed of this since I was little, and I'm sure she has too.
Their hard work
We were ecstatic. We were so happy.
landed them a chosen slot.
This is definitely one of those memories that you'll tell generations to come, and it just means everything for all of these girls to tell their children.
Hotels, flights, uniforms, meals.
It's hard for us to afford such an expensive trip.
It's too much for some families, and the cost close to $70,000.
A lot of people have told us, you know what, I don't think you're going to be able to do it. You're crazy. But we know that we have to at least try.
Brianna Kramer is a captain rallying the troops to find a way, already giving thanks for every penny they've earned.
Thank you so much. Like, it really means so much to us if we could be able to go on this trip. Like, hugs, like, like it would just mean so much to us if we could go.
Wow, that was Tori Denon reporting. The team has been able to raise a little money so far. They are working on corporate sponsorships where businesses' names would be on their banner they're carrying in the parade. To help, just email parkvistadanceteam@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade right here on News Channel 5. Huge flames and intense battle. That's how firefighters describe attacking this hotel fire in Central Florida. Luckily, everyone who was staying at the Daytona Hotel got out in time.
About 4:30 it was. We heard the alarm going off, and all of a sudden somebody ran up and started banging on the door saying there's smoke in the building, everybody get out. So we rushed out.
Luckily, the fire started in the boiler room and quickly spread. The thick smoke and fire forced the Daytona Fire Department to call in extra units from Port Orange and Volusia County. A free vocational training school could be coming to Port St. Lucie. City Council today asked the city manager to seek development on the school for students from 6th to 12th grades. It wouldn't cost a dime for county residents, and it would train students for jobs at nearby businesses. The city is looking to develop the school in the Tradition Commerce Park. Well, today we again asked Governor Scott, running for a U.S. Senate seat, about what's being done to solve the water and algae issues on Lake O and the Treasure Coast. Here's what he had to say.
Special rain, I've done an emergency order to get the DEP and the Water Management District work with the Corps to move water south.
Now, to read all about the algae alert from the Treasure Coast to Lake Okeechobee, the businesses and people impacted by this green mess in our water, just head over to our website, WPTV.com. Well, if you're looking to add a new furry member to your family, this weekend might be just the time to do it. The Humane Society of Vero Beach and Indian River County is holding its annual Clear the Shelter event. Pet adoption fees are half off. The event, which kicked off today, runs through Sunday at the Society's shelter. That's on 77th Street. Palm Beach County will ask FWC to create new rules to protect the fish that swim near the Blue Heron Bridge over in Riviera Beach. According to our news partners at the Palm Beach Post, the county wants to keep people from taking and selling the exotic fish. The Blue Heron Bridge Preservation Initiative is pushing for that change. Some of this native species of fish can go for thousands of dollars. Back to school is bringing on stress. A new survey found half of parents are stressed about all of that shopping for new clothes and supplies for their kids. You'll be spending about 7% more this year, too, on back-to-school technology, especially big-ticket items like a computer.
If you're buying something big and expensive like a laptop, you may not want to order sight unseen. So you can go into a store, check the keyboard, see how it feels, and then if the price is better online, order it there.
Now, experts say don't put off back-to-school shopping. Prices start off low and will slowly go up until school starts. I know I'm a procrastinator, and I know a lot of people do kind of wait until the last minute to get that done. So.
Exactly. Well, the tax weekend this weekend is a great time to start getting all of that stuff in line. It's amazing. It's already here again.
Yeah, so what are we looking at?
Actually, a school-related story, Alana. Tonight, a local assistant principal is under fire after he was accused of changing grades. He, though, is putting the blame on someone else. An update on this story, who he claims changed the grades, coming up today at 5.
Oh, all right. Thanks so much, Kelly. Stay tuned for that.
Coca-Cola has a new take on the water fountain, and it thinks that you're willing to pay to use it. So what makes it so special, and why is the soda company behind this? Well, we sent the Now's Kamasi Aaron to go check it out.
I'm in Atlanta on the Georgia Tech campus, right across the street from Coca-Cola headquarters. This is where the company is testing out its Dasani Pure Fill machine. It dispenses water for free, and for a small fee, you can add bubbles and flavoring. Could this be the new cash stream for Coca-Cola? The world's largest soda maker has put its spin on the water refilling station with the Dasani Pure Fill machine. You can still get the water for free, but with a quick swipe of your card, you can add bubbles and flavor too. For example, filling a 20-ounce bottle like this with bubbles and flavor would cost $1.15. You can't add sweeteners or other things. Coca-Cola started testing the machine about a year ago, saying young people, especially college students, always have two things with them throughout the day: a water bottle and a smartphone. So we're trying to dial into those habits and add value to a water brand they know and love with a unique solution for on-the-go hydration. According to reports, the company says people opt to pay for bubbles and flavor about 10 to 20% of the time. Right now, this is the only Dasani PureFill testing station that Coca-Cola has, but it says it's planning to expand to 20 locations in 15 campuses across the country this fall. For The Now, I'm Kumasi Urin.
All right, Kamasi, thank you. And this might be worse than forgetting your wallet at home. MoviePass, it couldn't pay for movie tickets yesterday during an outage, and it turns out the movie subscription service missed a payment to its merchants. Ouch. Yeah, so MoviePass subscribers, they couldn't get into any screenings. MoviePass had to borrow $5 million to pay back its merchants. Well, more people are cutting the cord. We know that. But how much are we really saving by doing it? Well, there's a survey by CG42 that says more than we think. Here's the Now's Andy Taylor to break down the savings.
If you only depend on internet and subscription services like Netflix, you're saving about $85 a month because those who keep their cable are also signed up for subscription services. So in other words, they're just tacking on another bill and not cutting corners anywhere else. But right now, there's almost the same amount of cord cutters as there are cable subscribers. More people are cutting the cord because they're frustrated with how much they're paying, and I totally get it, because usually they're paying for channels they don't watch and then being slapped with those surprise fees. But if you don't want to cut the cord just yet, on average, people pay about $92 a month. Chris?
All right, Andy, thank you. Good to know. And getting back to our lineup here, Google wants to ditch passwords, replace them with a device. So would this stop hackers dead in their tracks? Our investigative team on this one for us. You're watching The Now.
The National Transportation Safety Board has officially released a warning to people to stop jumping out of their vehicles for the In My Feelings song challenge. For about a month now, a social media craze has been taking over the country, where people record themselves jumping out of their cars to dance alongside their slow-moving vehicle to Drake's song In My Feelings. Now, several people have shared videos where the challenge did not end so well, with most of them falling out as soon as they step out of their vehicle. After seeing the videos, the NTSB released a warning to anyone thinking about taking part in that challenge. Just don't do it.
Welcome back to The Now. I'm Chris Stewart. And how many times do you think you type in a password every day? Well, the people who keep track of that kind of thing, they say that we enter passwords about 8 times a day. Well, Google wants to put an end to that, and The Now's investigative reporter Jace Larson checking out a device that would eliminate passwords. But what about hackers?
Google wants to sell us a plug-in security key that looks similar to a USB flash drive that you've plugged into your computer in the past. This type of thing is going to provide a one-of-a-kind electronic code that's called an encryption key that lets you access your account. So even if someone has your username and password, they couldn't get into your account without this physical key. Here's what the Google key looks like. Google is offering them because these days so many people are falling for those phishing scams and accidentally giving out their passwords to crooks without even realizing it. Now, Google has been putting this to the test, and it says it's working. Get this, no employees have been hacked since they started using what they're calling the Titan security keys at their corporate headquarters. Tech experts are suggesting a price tag of about $20. Google hasn't said when it will be available or if you will be required to pay. I'm Jace Larson, The Now.
Jace, thank you. Another quick look at the Now newsfeed. E-cig flavors can hurt blood cells and potentially cause heart damage. That is according to a new study out of Boston University. Doctors say the flavors block cells from producing nitric oxide, which increases blood flow. Well, soon you won't have a place to kind of just chill out in a massage chair in the mall while you're waiting for your friends who are shopping, because Brookstone getting ready to close its doors. Bloomberg reporting the company is getting ready to file for bankruptcy. And nurses at 2 Rhode Island hospitals ending their strike without a new contract. About 2,400 nurses went on strike on Monday. Their union and the hospitals, they're not meeting for negotiations until August 8th. Well, that sparkly ring on your finger, well, it could say a lot about your marriage. At least that's what 2 researchers are saying. They talked to thousands of people, some of them still married, some of them divorced, and they actually found there is a sweet spot on how much you should spend on a ring. Now, men who spent between $2,000 and $4,000 on an engagement ring, they were more likely to get a divorce. So there's at least one reason to save at the jewelry store. But also remember, spending too little, that can be bad. Women were more likely to file for divorce if their engagement ring was less than $500. So what is the sweet spot? Researchers say between $500 and $2,000. And just about anything with the word wedding in it tends to have a higher price tag. So this research says budget wisely. Now, they didn't have an exact number on how much money is too much. They did say if couples are too worried about planning their wedding, not their actual marriage, the odds may not be in their favor. So what did make couples happy during the wedding process? Well, researchers said having a lot of people at their wedding and having a honeymoon also correlated with having a longer marriage.
All right, very nice. Outside, we're looking at a beautiful Jupiter Inlet Lighthouse, some big towering cumulus clouds off in the background there, and some blue sky too, and the sun is shining in Jupiter right now, and you see a big hole in the action here from Stewart down to Jupiter and even West Palm, but we do have some showers and storms west of the lake and also up farther north in Indian River County. See a big one here over Blue Cypress Lake there in western Indian River County, northern Okeechobee County, southern Okeechobee County, right over Okeechobee. Big thunderstorm, but seems to be tapering down at the moment. A little bit of light rain sprinkles in Palm Beach County, moving through South County, Boca Del Rey, Boynton Beach, Lantana. This will drift back into Wellington and possibly West Palm here before the evening's up. So going to keep the chance for some isolated rain in the forecast here through the evening hours and then tapering it off with the chance of coastal showers overnight. Over the weekend, we bring up more rain chances and highs in the upper 80s.
A Florida woman is lucky to be alive after a flesh-eating infection ravaged her body. Tracy Penaloza feels her nightmare could have been avoided if she had simply kept her hands clean. This afternoon, she has a warning for other people. John Rogers is in Hillsborough County with her story.
For most of her life, Tracy Penaloza has been a strong, active woman with a big heart for others. Now, she's just happy to be here.
Piece by piece, I got amputated off.
Her right leg, her foot, and her right breast were all amputated after she became infected with necrotizing fasciitis, or as the CDC calls it, a flesh-eating bacteria.
It's been really hard. It's been really hard to see her have to go through this situation.
Tracy somehow got exposed to it 2 years ago, and she made one mistake.
Patty and I went across the street to eat some french fries. I didn't wash my hands. Always wash your hands. And within 24 hours, I was on life support. I didn't know who nobody was.
Eating the french fries without washing her hands, boom, caught that disease.
Soon, Tracy was in a coma. Doctors thought she wouldn't make it, but she shockingly pulled through. The CDC says this disease is extremely rare and cases appear randomly. Those with a healthy, strong immune system shouldn't be concerned, but experts say the best way to avoid this bacteria is to properly care for any wounds and practice good hygiene.
Always wash your hands. Just always wash your hands.
Finding the right used car, it can be tough. You want to make sure you get a good deal, but you also want to make sure the car is in shape. Well, now the Center for Auto Safety is giving us some tips on what to look for when you're shopping for affordable sedans. They say the Honda Civic's good to go. 3 other Toyota models also made the list, the Avalon, Camry, and Prius V. The center says shoppers should be looking for models starting in 2013 and after. Now, if an SUV is what you're after, well, they suggest you consider the Honda CR-V starting in 2015. 2 different Subarus also making the list, the Crosstrek and the Outback. The center suggests you look at 2013 models with the Crosstrek and 2015 models with the Outback. All of these cars were ranked for their value, safety, and reliability. So here's another tip, though, when you are at the car lot, because experts are suggesting that you offer 20% below the price that you're actually willing to pay. Dealers are more likely to meet you somewhere in the middle. But we do have a warning today out for those people who use security cameras because researchers are now finding a major security flaw. This actually surrounds Swan brand cameras. Researchers at Pen Test Partners found that the system doesn't check if the viewer is an authorized user. That means anyone can go into your system to watch and listen to the live feed that you set up. Now, Swan says the issue's been fixed, but other researchers say that system, it's still vulnerable. Well, take a look at these fresh shoes right here. Vans partnering with the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. It's for a collection of shoes and clothing based on the artist's most famous works. They'll be designed after 4 famous pieces of work, including sunflowers and his self-portrait. Now, if you want your own Van Gogh Vans, you'll be able to buy them online next month. Now, the price for these wearable masterpieces is still unknown, but a portion of the profits will go to museum restoration. Well, a dog trainer has been fired after video shows her striking a dog with a plastic bat. Bit of a warning here. Even the owner of the facility says that this video is hard to watch. The video shot 2 years ago in Washington State. Now, the dog struck multiple times. The woman who owns the dog training facility says that bat you see there, it was never meant to be used to hit dogs. Instead, trainers would hit walls with the bat to make a loud noise. Animal control says the behavior that is seen on camera, it didn't rise to the level of animal cruelty. Well, some Fridays, you just feel like this bear right here, trying to get up and get out into the weekend. Look at this video out of Colorado. A bear stuck in a storm drain. He was there for about an hour. You can see he was able to get out on his own. Crews removed the cover. He was able to scoot to freedom. They did fire a non-lethal rubber slug at him, and that was just in an effort to scare him to the point that he wouldn't come back. All right, let's take a quick look now at what we're working on for Monday. Now, there's some new pushback about that annual Dirty Dozen list, the list of fruits and veggies with high levels of pesticides. We're talking to a dietitian about how much we'd have to eat for this list to be a concern. It's a really interesting debate that we have for you Monday here on The Now.
There's a lot of good officers here, and they're going to go other places. And that's just sad.
They risk their lives to keep you safe and protect your community. Now, city leaders say an alarming number of police officers are leaving a local police department because they say the pay is simply an unlivable wage. It's a story that has you talking on Facebook and asking why. Only on The Now, Megan McRoberts sat down with current and former Fort Pierce police officers to hear what they say needs to happen for this to change.
It isn't hard to recruit officers to the city of Fort Pierce.
If you really want an experience to be a cop, you know, and catch bad guys, Fort Pierce was the place to be.
But we're protecting their identities because they've all decided to leave a place they love only after a couple years.
What is it that's making you leave?
Ultimately is the pay.
How much did pay play into your decisions to leave?
It's huge. Definitely up there.
The take-home pay much less than nearby agencies like Port St. Lucie Police and the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. Officers in Fort Pierce have to pay more into their retirement and health care, docking their take-home pay significantly.
And the paycheck comparison is just, it's a joke.
Relying on overtime and extra shifts just to make ends meet.
The average officer here, if they're paying for a family on their health insurance plan, would bring home less than $1,500.
As a result, the turnover is alarming. The president of the Fort Pierce Police Officers Association says Fort Pierce hired 77 officers in 5 years. 54 have already quit, he says.
Sitting here now, it is hard to give you 10 names of people that are working on the road that have been here longer than 5 years.
They say this impacts how they protect your community.
People with no experience training people with no experience.
We don't staff an entire neighborhood because we don't have the people.
Or even how they solve crimes.
You get tips, you know, because they know who you are.
City leaders know the turnover needs to be addressed.
We do need to look at ways to improve our employee retention. It warrants us doing all we possibly can to address that level of our police department dwindling down the way that it is.